Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It is 5:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I came across some more troubling articles yesterday. It's every day now. Every day for me and for a lot of other Americans. These are stories that even though I feared that Trump was going to take an authoritarian path towards dictatorship. I believe this since 2016. I can't believe where this country is headed. And I think it's just going to get worse as we head towards election day. Obviously, Trump has no capacity to handle the health crisis that is consuming America right now. He has no interest. He has no compassion or empathy for human lives. It's about him and his reelection. So yesterday, I came across this article back in, I think it was July 25th, 26th. Trump signed an executive order to protect Confederate monuments and statues. There's, I got the links below. There's a Department of Homeland Security memo talking about having surveillance on these statues. Now, the types of surveillance, it went from listening devices. I found other articles talking about drones, satellites, to cameras, all sorts of surveillance. The Department of Homeland Security has authorized statues and monuments to be under surveillance in case anybody tries to damage this. This is a new story I hadn't heard about until yesterday. Like I said, I've got all the links. There's at least 5 links down below where you could read about these stories. The types of surveillance is in question still. It talks about listening devices. There's several different devices they're talking about. It's a little sketchy. I think that's probably on purpose. That's probably security clearance. They're not going to tell you what they're using to surveil these monuments, but they are surveilling these monuments. Okay, so then Trump's up the ante too on sending his federal troops to American cities. Chicago, I'd be surprised if Trump's troops aren't in Chicago already this morning on Thursday. He's talking about Albuquerque, Atlanta. He's moving full steam ahead on this. Now, I think the average American and the ever upset Republican voter, there's a growing amount of Republican voters that they've reached their limit with this direction that Trump's headed. I can't believe that Republicans, the Trump supporters, are okay with surveillance, with federal troops being sent into our American cities. I can't believe that anybody's okay with this. One of the most interesting things is this wall of moms. And the dads with leaf blowers. I love this. I know, like I think I talked about this yesterday. Bo, the fifth column, called this one exactly. He got this one exactly right when he talked about how sending these federal troops in was probably the worst thing to do if you're trying to quell the violence or trying to calm down the protest. It's the exact worst thing to do. And we see that now. Some of the most troubling images I've seen over the last couple of days is a federal troop, a federal Homeland Security officer. God knows who he is or where he's from because they have no markings on their outfit. But this guy is outfitted with, it's something out of a movie. It's a huge, big army helmet with the cameras. This massive gas mask with canisters. They must be oxygen canisters on the side with tubes. It's a huge contraption. He looks like, seriously, he looks like something out of Star Wars. And he is manhandling one of the moms from the wall of moms in the yellow shirt. You see this just the two eyes behind the face mask in this federal troop, the stormtrooper, and he's manhandling this little mom in her yellow shirt. I've seen some images of these federal troops, and they show it from beginning to end, where there's some of the protesters have assigned themselves medic duties. There's one guy that's down, and these two medics are tending to him, and you see the troops coming, and then they just start pushing these guys, got their hands up, and they start beating with batons, and some of the violence, and you can see it from beginning to end. You can see these troops coming. You can see the whole story unfold. And these protesters have their hands up, and they're just getting wailed on by these federal agents, federal troops. It's appalling. It scares the hell out of me. So it appears that this is going to be the tactic now, that Trump, to get reelected, he's going to restore law and order to our nation's cities. And again, he talks about the violence in these cities, which I've talked to you guys over and over about this. And a lot of people, I've gotten comments from people that live in Chicago, people that live in these cities, telling me that, thank you, that you're right about the gang and drug violence. When we're talking about, there was a shooting at a funeral, I think it was in Chicago. I think it was 16 people shot. This isn't about Black Lives Matter. This isn't about Democrats or liberals. This is about gangs and drug-fueled violence. When these troops go into Chicago, when they go into Albuquerque, do you think they're going to go and kick down the doors at the Crips headquarters or at the Bloods clubhouse? No, they're going to go directly to wherever there's peaceful protests for Black Lives Matter. That's what this is all about. It's not going to curtail violence. What this is going to do, he's trying to intimidate his opponents. That's all it is. And with him saying that, he's sending these troops specifically to cities with Democrat mayors, states with Democrat governors. He's targeting his opposition with his military, with his federal troops. I mean, this is something right out of North Korea or China. And I think it's just going to get worse. This is the only route he can go. I want to talk briefly. Let me go back to the statues. Okay, this is what I found that made me so angry. Yesterday we've been going over 1,000 deaths a day. This is the death rate going back up, as we talked about, as I talked about in other videos. Yesterday there was 72,000 new cases. We've been hitting record numbers. California, ridiculously high record numbers. They're talking about research now that shows that adolescents can spread this virus just as easily as adults. There's evidence that there's facts that the average age of the infected patients is getting younger and younger. I think the last one I read was by 15 years. This is troubling when we're talking about sending kids back to school. Now, so here we have Trump and the Department of Homeland Security so concerned about protecting Confederate statues as 1,000 people a day die every day from the virus. And it spreads to 70,000 other people every single day. Trump talking about sending these kids back to school. He's asked about, the concern of the parents, the concern of the teachers, about how you're going to protect them. His only answer is kids got to go back to school. They got to go, and then he continues with this outrageous lie that keeping kids out of school is killing them. It's killing the parents. I guess he's trying to infer that by staying home or being homeschooled, depression is killing Americans. Geez, how many decades has there been thousands of homeschooled kids across this country? For years, back through generations, there's been parents that have opted for homeschooling. Have those people hung themselves? Have those people died of depression like Trump's talking about? No. It's not like they're locked in a closet 24 hours a day. They're homeschooled. They still have their friends. They still have their neighborhood. It's not like they're locked in a closet. Trump comes out with this ridiculous lie that this keeping kids out of school is killing Americans, even worse than the virus. Anyway, okay, so back to these statues. This administration is more concerned about protecting Confederate statues with surveillance, with laws, with prison sentences. So concerned about protecting Confederate statues and has little or no concern about sending kids right back to school, stuffing them right back in that classroom just to get reelected. He's more concerned about statues, willing to put surveillance on statues, because God forbid anybody touches a Confederate statue. We got to find them. We got to prosecute them. But seemingly little or no concern for the virus, the pandemic raging through the country. That's what we have for a supposed leader right now. And if you think about that, think about it. Why? Why is he protecting those statues? It's about him pandering to his base to get reelected. It's about him. It's about his ego. He wants the votes. He wants to keep that base vote. And he doesn't give a crap about the health of American citizens, about the virus, about any of that. Again, it's about him. When you look at this surveillance of the statues a little deeper, it's all about him. It's all about him getting votes and pandering to his base. That's all. That's what it's about. That's the bottom line there. It's not even about protecting these Confederate statues. It's about the idea and selling it to his base loving that idea. You got to protect these valuable historic statues. You got to be kidding me. I never thought. I knew these Trump years would be bad, but I had no idea. I'm shocked. When I read about this surveillance and Trump upping the ante on sending more federal troops into cities, and then I see these pictures of these federal agents armed with batons, beating on people, tear gassing, rubber bullets against moms. And the wall of dads, and I love this, the dads with leaf blowers blowing the tear gas back at the federal troops. God bless. That's America. Those are the Americans I am proud of. But all this is going to do, as Trump sends these federal troops out, it's going to enrage the average American to get out there and join the protest. It's not going to do jack squat for the violence in these cities, because like I've said over the last 3 days, this violence is about drugs and gangs. These gun deaths, these shootings, these mass shootings at parties, at funerals, they're not about the Black Lives Matter movement. They're about drugs and gangs. Are these federal troops going to go and surveil the Crips? Are they going to go surveil the Bloods? Are they going to go surveil the gangster disciples in Chicago? No, without a doubt, no. They're going to go straight to the Black Lives Matter protests. This isn't going to do jack squat for violence, for gun violence in these inner cities. And that's not even what it's about. It's about Trump trying to eliminate, trying to intimidate his opposition like a freaking something out of a George Orwell novel. It's like we're living in North Korea or China. Unbelievable. All right. You guys have a good Thursday.